Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have you ever felt appreciated, but never chosen? She thanks you. She relies on you. She tells you how much you mean to her. But when it comes to commitment, clarity, or priority, there's always a reason, always a delay, always a not yet. You're close enough to support her, but never close enough to be claimed. And here's the part most men don't understand. If a woman is using you, she usually won't insult you. She won't disrespect you openly. She won't treat you badly. She'll treat you sweetly, because sweet words keep access open without requiring obligation. This video isn't about hating women. It's not about blaming, and it's definitely not about bitterness. It's about language, behavior, and psychology. It's about recognizing patterns early so you don't wake up one day realizing you played the role of emotional support, validation, time, energy, and resources for someone who was never planning to choose you. Because the most painful position a man can be in isn't being rejected. It's being kept. Good enough to stay, not enough to be chosen. So let's talk about the sweet lies, not aggressive lies. Not cruel lies, the kind that sound reasonable, the kind that feel kind, the kind that quietly keep you investing while nothing actually moves forward. And the first one is the most common. Lie number 1. I'm not ready for a relationship right now. This line sounds honest. It sounds self-aware. It even sounds mature. And many men hear it and think, okay, she just needs time. I'll be patient. Here's the psychology behind it. Not ready rarely means not capable of commitment. It usually means selective readiness. Because human beings don't prepare for relationships in theory, they prepare in response to someone they don't want to lose. If she's emotionally close to you, if she talks to you every day, if she leans on you for support, if she accepts your time, attention, and effort, but avoids labels, clarity, or progression, then she's not confused, she's comfortable. Let me give you a real-world example. She texts you when she's stressed, calls you when something goes wrong, laughs with you, shares personal stories, accepts your help. But the moment you bring up where things are going, she pulls back and says, I'm just not ready for a relationship right now. Notice the contradiction. She's ready for closeness, ready for emotional intimacy, ready for support, just not ready for responsibility. And here's the pattern you need to recognize. She's not ready with you. Because readiness isn't about time. It's about motivation. When someone truly wants you, clarity feels relieving, not threatening. If you've ever waited months or years hoping not ready would turn into now I am, comment below if that line sounds familiar. Because the next lie builds directly on this one. Lie number 2. You're so important to me. This one feels good. This one hits the heart. She says you matter. She says you're special. She says you mean a lot to her. And emotionally, it hooks you. But let's slow down and examine it. This statement provides emotional reinforcement without behavioral responsibility. Words are cheap. Priority is expensive. Here's how it usually plays out. She reaches out when she needs something. Support, validation, comfort, advice. She tells you how important you are to her, but her behavior never changes because of you. She doesn't adjust her schedule. She doesn't make sacrifices. She doesn't move closer to commitment. She doesn't show up more consistently. You're important, but not prioritized. And there's a huge difference. Importance without priority is emotional decoration. It keeps you invested without requiring her to choose. Think of it like this. You can tell a gym how important fitness is to you, but if you never show up, never train, never commit, your words don't matter. And deep down, you already feel this inconsistency. You feel valued when she talks, but invisible when decisions are made. If you've ever felt emotionally close but structurally optional, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that leads us to the next lie. the one designed to stretch the situation out indefinitely. Lie number 3. I just need time. This sounds reasonable. Who doesn't need time? But time is only valuable when it's moving towards something. Here's the psychology. This line buys her more access without forcing a difficult decision. She doesn't have to say yes. She doesn't have to say no. She can keep receiving what you give while avoiding accountability. Let me paint the picture. Weeks turn into months. Months turn into a year. You are still in the same place. No progression, no definition, no closure, just enough warmth to keep you hopeful, just enough distance to avoid commitment. And the key pattern here is simple. Time moves. Direction doesn't. That's how men get stuck. They mistake duration for progress. They think, if I stay consistent, eventually she'll see my value. But attraction doesn't work on loyalty points. Time doesn't create desire. Clarity does. And if time was going to change her mind, it already would have. Before we continue, ask yourself this. If nothing changed for the next 6 months, would you still be okay with this situation? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, that's not anxiety. That's your self-respect trying to speak. And here's where most men get it wrong. They think these lines are lies because women are manipulative. That's not the truth. The real twist comes later. Because these words aren't lies if you listen emotionally. They only become lies when you ignore behavior and believe intention. And in part 2, we're going deeper. We're going to talk about the compliments that disarm you, the praise that puts you in the safe category, and the phrases that keep you close but never chosen. If this is already hitting close to home, pause for a second. Like the video if you believe behavior matters more than promises. And comment, I heard that line, if any of these sounded familiar. Let's continue. Now, here's where things get more subtle, because after a man accepts the first few delays, after he proves he's patient, understanding, and different, the language shifts. The lies stop sounding like avoidance and start sounding like compliments. And that's where most men get trapped. Lie number 4, you're different from other guys. This one feels flattering. It lowers your guard instantly because every man wants to believe he's not just another option. Here's the psychology behind it. This phrase often places you into the safe option role, not the exciting choice, not the risky choice, not the one she pursues, but the one she feels emotionally comfortable with. You listen, you understand, you don't pressure her, you're consistent. And she tells you how different you are. But notice something important. She talks to you about the men she talks about. You're the one who gets her, the one who understands her feelings, the one she vents to after disappointment, but not the one she moves toward. And the pattern becomes clear. Different, but not desired. Because attraction doesn't reward safety alone. It rewards polarity. Being different is only powerful if it's paired with decisiveness and self-respect. Otherwise, it becomes a cage. A soft one, a polite one, but a cage nonetheless. If you've ever felt like the emotional anchor while someone else got the excitement, this next lie will feel painfully familiar. Lie number 5. I don't want to ruin what we have. This sounds protective, almost caring. But listen carefully. What she's really protecting is not the connection, it's the access. This line avoids definition while continuing emotional benefits. She doesn't want to risk losing your attention, your support, your presence. But she also doesn't want the responsibility that comes with choosing you. So the situation stays undefined. You keep showing up, she keeps receiving. And anytime clarity comes close, this phrase shuts it down. I don't want to ruin what we have. But here's the truth most men miss. Healthy connections don't get ruined by clarity. They get strengthened by it. Only fragile arrangements require vagueness to survive. And the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to leave. Because ambiguity creates hope. And hope is more addictive than honesty. Which brings us to the next lie. the one disguised as humility. Lie number 6. You deserve someone better than me. On the surface, this sounds selfless, almost noble. But psychologically, it often serves one purpose: reducing guilt. By lowering herself, she avoids taking responsibility for not choosing you. She frames herself as the problem, so you don't frame her behavior as the problem. And here's the key contradiction. If she truly believed you deserved better, she would let you go. But instead, she stays close. She continues to talk to you, lean on you, accept your effort. That's not selflessness. That's guilt disguised as kindness. It allows her to feel morally clean while keeping the benefits. And you're left confused. You feel sorry for her. You feel patient. You feel like leaving would make you the bad guy. That's how men stay stuck. Not because they're weak, but because they're empathetic. Now watch how this empathy gets tested with the next lie. The one that explains distance without explanation. Lie number 7. I'm just really busy lately. This one sounds practical, reasonable, adult, and sometimes it's even true. But patterns tell the real story. Here's the psychology. Busyness is the most socially acceptable excuse for emotional withdrawal. It doesn't create conflict. It doesn't require confrontation. But behavior reveals priority. If someone is too busy for you, but never too busy for others, that's not time management. That's choice. You'll notice the pattern: delayed replies, short conversations, canceled plans. But social media tells another story. She's out, she's active, she's engaged. Just not with you. And here's the hard truth. People make time for what matters. Availability doesn't lie. And when you accept chronic busyness as normal treatment, you silently teach her that your needs are optional, which sets the stage for the most dangerous lie so far. Lie number 8. Let's just see where this goes. This is ambiguity perfected. It sounds open-minded, flexible, chill, but psychologically, it benefits only one side. Ambiguity allows her to receive relationship-level benefits without relationship-level commitment. No expectations, no pressure, no accountability, just vibes. And you stay because you don't want to be the one who pushes things. You tell yourself, I'll just go with the flow. But flow without direction always ends in the same place: stagnation. And the longer you stay in this state, the harder it becomes to leave, because now you've invested time, emotion, hope. And here's the uncomfortable pattern. Clarity feels heavy only when someone is afraid of losing options. Before we go any further, pause for a moment. Ask yourself this. If someone told you to just see where this goes, at work, with money, or with your future, would you accept that? Or would you demand clarity? So why is your emotional life the only place where uncertainty feels acceptable? Now here's where the story flips. Because up to this point, it sounds like these are lies designed to deceive you. But here's the twist. Here's the uncomfortable truth. None of these are lies if you listen emotionally. They only become lies when you ignore behavior and believe intention. She may genuinely feel confused. She may genuinely care. She may genuinely enjoy your presence. But feelings don't equal decisions. And men don't get used because women are evil. Men get used when they stay available without requiring reciprocity. And in part 3, we're going to decode what she's really saying beneath these phrases. Then we'll talk about the exact mindset and actions that make this pattern stop immediately. Because a man who can walk away stops being used automatically. Before we finish, comment "still listening" if this is making uncomfortable sense. And if you've ever lived in ambiguity, hoping it would turn into commitment, you're not alone. Let's finish this properly. By now, you've probably noticed something. None of these lines sound cruel. None of them sound manipulative on the surface. That's why they work. They don't push you away. They keep you close. And the final one is the most powerful of all. Lie number 9, I care about you. I really do. This is the strongest one because it feels sincere, and often it is. But here's the psychological distinction most men never learn. Care is not commitment. Concern is not choice. Emotion without action is comfort, not investment. When she says she cares about you, she may genuinely mean it. She enjoys talking to you. She appreciates your presence. She values how you make her feel. But caring costs nothing. Choosing costs everything. Let me give you an example. She tells you she cares deeply. She checks in on you. She asks how your day went. But when it comes to making space for you in her life, introducing you, prioritizing you, building something with you, there's always a reason why now isn't the right time. That's not deception. That's clarity if you're willing to see it. And here's the pattern. Care without cost keeps you emotionally attached while she remains free. That's the final sweet lie. Not because it's false emotionally, but because it's incomplete behaviorally. Now let's decode all of this. Because beneath every sweet line is a consistent message. When you strip away the tone and listen to behavior, what she's really saying is this. I like what you give me. I don't want to lose access. I'm not choosing you yet. And sometimes that yet never comes. Not because you weren't good enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because choice isn't negotiated. It's decided. And here's the hardest truth of all. No amount of patience turns availability into desire. Men don't lose women because they ask for clarity. They lose themselves by avoiding it. So what do you do differently? This isn't about ultimatums. It's about alignment. Here's how you stop being used immediately. First, stop over-investing without direction. If there's no movement forward, reduce the emotional output. Not as punishment, as calibration. Second, match energy, not words. Words are easy. Consistency is rare. Mirror behavior, not promises. Third, set internal deadlines. Not to pressure her, but to protect yourself. Decide how long you're willing to stay without clarity, and respect your own timeline, even if she doesn't. Fourth, and this is the most important, be willing to walk. Not dramatically, not angrily, calmly, because the moment you're capable of leaving, the dynamic changes. A man who can leave is no longer usable. And here's the irony most men never expect. The same self-respect that makes you walk away is what makes some women suddenly want to stay. But that's no longer the point, because now you're choosing too. Women don't use men who respect themselves. They use men who hope patience will turn into value. Sweet lies only work when you're afraid to lose access. The moment you stop fearing loss, you stop being leverage. And clarity replaces confusion. Whether she steps forward or fades out, you win, because you kept your self-respect intact. And that's the real goal, not convincing someone to choose you, but never staying where you are not chosen. If one of these lines sounded painfully familiar, comment, I heard that line. If you believe behavior matters more than promises, like the video. And if you're done being the backup plan and ready to move with clarity and self-respect, subscribe. Because the right people don't require you to wait in uncertainty. They meet you with choice.